Hello there folks, my name is Spooks and welcome back to another episode of Box Office Chat. This is the show where I break down the top 5 domestic box office results, see where each movie landed, and see how well each movie did. So let's get started. Number 5 was once again 28 years later, making $4.5 million this weekend, bringing its domestic total to $60 million and its worldwide total to $125 million. So not only was this movie able to bounce back slightly, it still dropped 53%. Again, it still was able to bounce back after its really steep drop from the second weekend. Not only that, but it also got the leg up over Megan 2, which I don't think many people were expecting it to do so. I'm pretty sure a lot of people thought Megan 2 would be the threat to this movie, not the other way around, which is really surprising. It has also surpassed the initial production budget domestically and the doubling point worldwide. So the movie's now back on track. It's back to where I think people were hoping it would head given the opening weekend. It seemed like the word of mouth hasn't really been as bad as the cinema score indicated. It looked like it was just a bit more on the front-loaded side of things, and with this movie, I think it'll be able to continue to hold itself well, given that it's very obvious this is the main big horror movie to see right now, and still got some time before I Know What You Did Last Summer, which drops out in a couple weekends. Overall, really solid weekend for 28 years later. Again, I don't think this is going to reach the heights of Final Destination, but I doubt anyone is disappointed by these numbers. This is a good sign. Again, it puts itself back on track to where I think they wanted it to head to in terms of its box office performance, and if it can keep doing that at least until I Know What You Did Last Summer, then I think this movie will be in the right spot, which it already is. Again, it was able to double its budget, so yeah, good weekend for this movie. Number 4 was Elio, making $5.7 million this weekend, bringing its domestic total to $55 million and its worldwide total to $97 million. Oh, Elio. Oh boy. Again, it's not like it's plummeting or seriously dropping off or anything, but it's just not doing anything special right now, unfortunately. What goodwill this movie had left for itself seems to have really just gone by the wayside. Yeah, it's holding well. It dropped 45%, but it hasn't grown exponentially since its opening, and even with 4th of July weekend, that's a pretty big holiday weekend. Lots of kids out and about, lots of families doing stuff. You'd think this movie would receive quite the bump, but it just hasn't, unfortunately. Yeah, it's going to get to 100 million worldwide, but the budget was 150 at the very least, and it just doesn't seem like it's going to get there. Unfortunately, this is looking like a pretty big flop for Pixar, which again is unfortunate. This is their big major movie of the year, and given the troubled production this movie had, you would have hoped that this movie would turn itself around, but unfortunately it just doesn't look like it. Even with the fact that it's still got a couple weeks until Smurfs, it's still the only animated movie right now, the damage has already been done. It's already been swamped by the other big movies out right now, and it's just not growing in the ways that Elemental or even stuff like Migration and If were able to do. Unfortunately, yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's looking like the biggest disappointment of the summer thus far. Number 3 was How to Train Your Dragon, making $11 million this weekend, bringing its domestic total to $224 million and its worldwide total to $519 million. So it has now officially surpassed the original How to Train Your Dragon domestically to become the biggest film in the franchise domestically. Worldwide, it's a couple million behind The Hidden World and still roughly 100 million behind How to Train Your Dragon 2, but at the rate it's been going, I can see it definitely surpassing The Hidden World very soon, probably in a matter of days, and it might even match or just barely surpass the worldwide total of How to Train Your Dragon 2, which would be really impressive. Again, this is clearly the big family movie people want to see. Yeah, it hasn't had the best holds out there, but it's still holding really, really well despite all the big competition taking up the big screens and large formats. You'd think it would really be hurting this movie a lot more, but no, it's clear that this is definitely starting to play out more like a family movie right now than like a big bloated blockbuster. I'm sure 4th of July definitely helped. Yeah, not much more else to say here. I think it's going to get to 250 million domestically very soon, and again, I think it'll be able to at least match the final worldwide run of How to Train Your Dragon 2. I think this movie still got a couple more weeks ahead of itself, still putting up great numbers. Number 2 was F1, making $25 million this weekend, bringing its domestic total to $109 million and its worldwide total to $293 million. So despite the competition, and while it did fall a bit, this still put up a really solid weekend. Again, given the competition and just losing all of its big screens, it fell only 55%, which is about what you would expect for a big blockbuster competing with such a juggernaut on 4th of July weekend would do. Really impressive whole, all things considered. This movie has seemed to really resonate well with audiences. It was crushing it on the daily numbers, and I think this is still a really good sign for things to come. I don't think it's going to reach as high as some people were expecting it to be. Obviously, this is not going to be another Sinners scenario, but I still think this is going to be one of, if not the biggest surprise of the summer for sure. It's really playing into its strengths. The older crowds are definitely loving it, and word of mouth is really strong thus far, and because of that, it has surpassed its initial production budget of $200 million worldwide. It's on its way to doubling that very soon. I think it even has a shot of $500 million worldwide. Again, F1, while it's been growing its audience in the States, it's definitely a lot bigger internationally, and I'm assuming those numbers are gonna go up a lot. Again, it's still got a lot of competition. Again, July is a very big month, especially this year, so it's just gonna need to keep moving ahead. It's got to keep maintaining its core audience, these strongholds, but I think this is a good sign of things to come. Again, I don't think it's going to be the biggest movie of the summer. I don't think it's going to completely break new grounds or anything, but this is still a really impressive run for a sports drama, especially released in this crowded time of the summer. Really solid stuff. And finally, let's end the video off with the number 1 movie of the weekend, which was Jurassic World Rebirth, opening with $92 million this weekend, and since it opened on Wednesday, it adds to a domestic total of $147 million and a worldwide total of $322 million. This is the 4th biggest opening in the Jurassic Park franchise. It tops The Lost World, Jurassic Park 3, and the first Jurassic Park, but it still sits behind Dominion, Fallen Kingdom, and Jurassic World. It's the 2nd biggest opening of the summer, topping How to Train Your Dragon, Thunderbolt, and Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, but still sitting behind Lilo and Stitch. And it is the 3rd biggest opening of the year overall, topping Captain America: Brave New World and How to Train Your Dragon, but still sitting behind Lilo and Stitch and a Minecraft movie. This definitely shot up my expectations, because going into this weekend, I just had this feeling that it was gonna come in slightly under. I just didn't see the buzz for this movie or the interest, and on top of that, the reception this movie got was very concerning. Reviews were very mixed. On Rotten Tomatoes, it's like in the low 50s right now. Again, very divided thus far. And the cinema score dropped on Wednesday, again because it opened on Wednesday, and it was very bad. It got a B on cinema score. That's terrible for a blockbuster. Not only that, but it's the 2nd lowest rating in the franchise. It's only above Jurassic Park 3, which got a B minus. Everything else got a B plus or higher. So there was concern like, this might be a dud. This is probably going to start the month off rough. But no, surprisingly, this movie was able to really open big, and I mean really big. Again, certainly defied my expectations. As we got further and further into the weekend, the numbers just kept going up. So clearly I was living under a rock. Clearly there was more interest in this movie than I thought previously. People still love those dinosaurs. They love this franchise, and they are more than happy to see another one of these movies. And again, I think the marketing really sold this movie, and of course opening on 4th of July weekend certainly helped a ton. So I'm definitely curious to see where this movie heads further down the road. I do think the word of mouth is going to be very interesting to follow. Its legs are going to be really crucial. Will it plummet as the cinema score indicates, or will it bounce back, kind of like what a Minecraft movie was able to accomplish earlier this year, and soar to new heights. And even with the competition as well, again, it's a very big month this month. This is just one of the big three coming out, and it's facing off another one this coming weekend. So it's going to be very interesting to see where this movie heads down the road. But it's clear that this is definitely a hot ticket item right now. People really wanted to go and see this. It obviously has already surpassed its initial $180 million budget. It's about to double that worldwide, and I'm sure by the end of this week it'll surpass 500 million worldwide as well. So yeah, a really great start for Jurassic World Rebirth. Again, going forward is going to be the most interesting part of how this movie does, of this movie's success for sure. But if this opening is any indicator, this is going to be another win for this franchise, and I'm sure we're going to get another couple movies in the coming years after that. I can't see anyone being upset or even a little disappointed by these numbers. This is a really impressive opening, and obviously a great start for movie going this month. So yeah, overall fantastic start for Jurassic World Rebirth. And those were your top 5 domestic box office results for this weekend, but we're not quite done yet, as we've got another week ahead of us and new movies hitting theaters. And this weekend we have one new major wide release, that film being Superman, the long-awaited reboot of the DC Extended Universe, now under new management by James Gunn, and they're starting with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Superman. This has been the most hyped up movie of the summer, without a shadow of a doubt. Superman is one of, if not the most iconic superhero. The fact that it's been pretty much 12 years since his last solo movie. Really think about it. He's done some crossovers and team up movies here and there, but for his last solo movie, 12 years since Man of Steel. That is crazy. Really think about it. How many spin-offs? Batman. Even Venom got 3 movies in that time. But I think the hype is there with this movie. Lots of buzz with this movie. Anytime anything is revealed about it, people go nuts over it. The buzz is through the roof. The marketing has been fantastic. Tons and tons of promos and stuff I've been seeing for this movie. But there's a lot of weight on this movie's shoulders. Again, this is supposed to start a new era for DC. If this movie doesn't deliver, it's done. It's over. There's no second chance, no rebounding from this. There is, again, lots of pressure, lots of weight, and the James Gunn and the studio do realize it. I do think this movie's going to deliver. I don't know how big it's going to deliver, though. Again, I think it's just going to really have to depend on how people respond to it. If the reviews are great, if people really like it, and if it's able to really just leg out and be the movie of the summer. This movie needs to do Lilo and Stitch numbers, really. And it's definitely going to be tough, especially considering Jurassic World just crushed it. It's got 2 weeks before Fantastic Four, and obviously the big threat of the month, Smurfs. That's just gonna tear through everything, But in all seriousness, there's just so much at stake with this movie. But I do think there is hope that this movie does deliver. I think it's gonna have a really strong opening this weekend. But we'll see how well this movie truly does, as well as the rest of the movies that land in the top 5 on the next Box Office Chat. And that's going to do it for this week's episode of Box Office Chat. What did you all think of the results? Were you satisfied, unsatisfied? Comment down below and let me know. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you like this channel, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on all those social media links right there. And until next time, everyone, stay sharp.